Magical Fantasy has an amazing win streak coming in as she comes in off tremendous form here. 4 wins in a row, as you mentioned, all of them the significant races for fillies and mares on the grass here in California. With Magical Fantasy, we look at her this morning going 5 furlongs over the turf. Alex Solis up.
Paddy Gallagher has done a great job with her. Ever since she started this 4-race win streak, since going from the synthetic to the turf, he spaced her races with this race in mind as a goal. She is clearly the best in the West. And again, she is a filly that seems to be thriving at this time of the year, Tom. She's got a lot of haircut, a lot of good condition there, good condition. Her hair coat looks well, and she's moving effortlessly with Alex Solis.
You know, we know what Magical Fantasy is. She's won her last 4 in a row, the last 3 all grade 1s. That's more grade 1s than I've won in my career with all my horses combined. But when we compare it to the 2-year-old filly we watched right before, look at those strides. They're the same big, long strides. You're supposed to see that from Magical Fantasy. That makes me even a little higher on Tappett's Fly.
Yeah, I tell you what, Todd, real quick, this filly is going to get, I don't think, of much respect as you see a gallop out there in 5 furlongs in a minute and 4/5, because she doesn't really get the respect she deserves here out on the West Coast. I know she's been favored in the last couple, but I think she's gone off at 6-1. That's going to happen in the Breeders' Cup filly and mare turf. And I tell you what, because she only wins her races by the distance that she needs to get the job done. She doesn't put out, she doesn't draw off and win by 3 or 4. She's not a flashy type.
4 horses worked that distance over the turf course here at Santa Anita, 5 furlongs. Tappett's Fly, who we saw previously, ranked 2nd, in the Magical Fantasy 3rd of 4 that worked at the distance. When we return on this Halloween edition of the Works Breeders' Cup 2009, we're going to check the calendar. Yeah, it reads October 31st, but that also means we're looking ahead to the Juvenile Turf, the TVG Dirt Mile, and the Filly and Mare Sprint.
The last 2 seasons, Little Bit of Baja has finished 2nd in the Champion of Champions at Los Alamitos. With the win in the Bank of America Challenge Championship, he'll punch his ticket once again to this Grade 1 Classic.
And Little Bit of Baja and Rodrigo Sivas to destroy this field wins it very easily.
Trainer Casey Carden brings Brindispoor Cayenne into the race, who subbed in for his stablemate Business Tycoon.
Brindispoor Cayenne finished 2nd to Business Tycoon. And when we made it back home, Business Tycoon wasn't really traveling the way we thought it should be. And it was very fortunate that Brindis ran 2nd, so we decided to bring him and run him in his place.
Riley's Boy also enters this race on quite a roll. A winner of 9 of his last 10 starts, he's been the terror of the Arizona circuit all season long.
Riley's Boy wins by 2 lengths.
Some of the finest older horses in the nation collide Saturday, October 31st in the Grade 1 $350,000 Bank of America Challenge Championship. And you can watch all the action from Los Alamitos Racecourse right here on TVG.
I have to point out one horse in particular and one race in particular on that card tonight at Los Alamitos. You have to tune in and at least see race number 6 on the card, the Red Cell Racing Challenge Distance Championship. In there is Snowbound Superstar, who lifetime is 15 for 18. Ever since they put him around 1 turn, he's rolled off 15 consecutive wins. And his chief rival tonight, Gone to the Mountain, is the world record holder at the distance. The last time they met, Snowbound Superstar beat him by just a neck. It's the closest Snowbound Superstar has really come to losing this incredible streak. Tonight, one of many great races in the Bank of America Challenge Championships at Los Alamitos. Back to the thoroughbred world. We're checking out the calendar now. And as we take a look at the calendar for today, we look at the Juvenile Turf. The Dirt Mile was sponsored by TVG last year. This year, TVG in a multi-year agreement for the mile on the turf. And also the Filly and Mare Sprint. But we are going to start now by taking a look at the pre-entries for the Juvenile Turf.
Let's take a look at the Juvenile Turf, a race that was won last year by the Europeans in Donative, Becky's Kitten. Bridgetown for Kenny McPeak, pretty nice horse. And then Vale of York on the outside has first preference in the Juvenile. You can see a lot of these cross-ended, of course. But Interactive, I think for Todd Pletcher, is going to be one of the short prices in this race.
And Interactive, we got a chance to see at Keeneland. Right now, we're going to take a look at Bridgetown. We're also going to see and hear House of Grace, who is preparing for the Juvenile Fillies Turf. This is this morning. Bridgetown over the pro ride, 5 furlongs, with Walter Blum Jr. aboard Bridgetown, again working with House of Grace.
Under Jordan Springer, and Bridgetown is on the outside. So remember, you've got a colt here working with a filly. And again, this is similar to the work we saw earlier with Smart Seattle and Zilva. Tom, two stablemates here trying to hook up and just get through the work together, nice and easy on the bridle.
I like these kind of work, Simon, because I'm always trying to see which rider has more horses to finish. Kind of gives me an encouraging view of if I'm looking to bet on one of those horses. Yes, it's a filly versus a colt, but at the same time, you can get a general idea of how these horses are doing. One thing to note about these two horses, Bridgetown's style of running is speed. House of Grace's style is from off the pace. So Bridgetown's going to have the advantage here. He's the one that's the speedier of the two, and he's going to look a little better through the lane. But I would not take anything away from House of Grace. As you can see, you're looking at the riders and what their hands are. And look at Bridgetown. He's ready to roll right there on the outside.
Yeah, he's just, I mean, hanging on to Bridgetown is Walter Blum here, just to maintain and do what he's told to do by Ken McPeak and not pass the workmate. 5 furlongs, 102 and 4.
That is the time given to Bridgetown. Let's take a look at the time given to House of Grace in here. There's House of Grace preparing for the juvenile fillies. And you can see here, 102 and 4 for the stablemate of Bridgetown, House of Grace, preparing for the juvenile fillies turf. Then there is Becky's Kitten, preparing for the juvenile turf, out for a gallop this morning here over the Pro Ride.
Yeah, this is a horse that's had many starts, 5 starts, a win, a second, and a third, and nothing fancy here to note, really, just getting acquainted with the racetrack, and not a lot you can tell from this.
All you can tell is that she's probably a horse that might be a little difficult to gallop, and she's doing a lot of looking around. So you got to believe here that she's, just as you say, getting used to the track.
How many does Ken Ramsey have, that sons and daughters of
Oh, I know.
Kitten's Joy?
In the poker term, he's all in on Kitten's Joy. 372 offspring of Kitten's Joy.
Well, he's doing well.
Yeah.
He's getting them there to the big races. The Dirt Mile is certainly becoming a big race in the Breeders' Cup World Championships. Here are your pre-entries this year, and again, it'll be an overloaded field.
Certainly will be. Bulls Bay, of course, coming off a good third-place finish behind Rachel Alexander in the Woodward. Then there's the likes of PYRO, be coming from off the pace and running late. And some good 3-year-olds there that are cross-ended, of course, Quality Road. First preference in the Classic there. Not really surprising.
And take a look at all the horses who are pre-entered. Obviously, not all of them are going to be able to get in. But let's start with NEKO Bay and a work this morning here at Oak Tree. 5 furlongs, Mike Smith aboard.
When you look at NEKO Bay, I think the thing to keep in mind here, Todd and Simon, is that here's a horse that has one race since December. Ran October 9th at Santa Anita and had the right kind of race, a winning race, going a mile here at Santa Anita. I think last year when you look at a lot of the horses, the Santa Anita horses had an advantage, a home field advantage over the rest of the field. So when I'm looking at NEKO Bay, what I want to see is, why was the reason for the layoff? Is it anything that's presenting itself to me on the track? And you certainly don't see it here. NEKO Bay is moving very, very nicely. And when you watch it through the lane, you're going to see a really good stride on a horse that's getting simply a maintenance work.
I think this is a horse that you really have to pay close attention to in the work for what Tom mentioned. He's only had 3 races since 26th of April 2008. Clearly he's got some physical problems, but the work is key if it's going to give you any signs of any physical problems, and there are none at all here. This horse moves nice. He's got a very, very nice stride. The only thing he might be lacking, Tom, is a little class against a group like he's going to face here on Breeders' Cup weekend.
Well, class is a big deal, but you know, a horse coming into the race the right way also is, and NEKO Bay coming off a win here at the distance at Santa Anita is certainly coming into the race the right way.
I like the way he finishes up here. You can see Mike Smith just drops his body, lowers his center of gravity, doesn't really have to ask NEKO Bay, and finishes up very, very well here.
And those are the positive signs. Hands are still, horse striding very nicely on his proper lead. Those are all very positive.
Crown of Thorns is a horse who's always had a lot of ability, but his career has been interrupted by a significant layoff. This will be his only 6th start if he makes it into the gate. And Crown of Thorns out this morning here galloping.
He's a big, heavy horse, good-looking individual here, and he's in the right hands. Richard Mandela had more success at Santa Anita and Breeders' Cups than anybody else, winning 4 races back in 2003. I like the way he's moving.
Well, you're looking at PYRO right there, and I mean, this is what horses do to loosen up. People stretch, horses jog to loosen up their muscles, and that's what PYRO's doing right there. He looks to be in good order as he gets ready for his attempt at a Breeders' Cup win.
The Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile, just some of the horses trying to get there. NEKO Bay, Crown of Thorns, and PYRO. The filly and mare sprint pre-entries look like this, but all eyes are drawn to the defending champion Ventura and her serious challenger this year, Informed Decision.
And we talked about this yesterday after watching Ventura's A++, double plus work. One of the best we saw yesterday. Informed Decision, of course, a 7-furlong specialist. And then there's the likes of Vita Argentina, which people probably haven't seen on the East Coast, but we've seen her out here, West Tom.